Hey guys, Keisha Gaming here, and today I'm just gonna be doing a part 2 of the previous video. So if you didn't watch the previous video, highly recommend you go ahead and watch it to at least you know what's going on. So the first episode, all I did was I tested cars that I think was the fastest. In this episode, I'm gonna be testing cars that people online or like websites think are the fastest. So again, same thing. We're going to be going 5 laps around Petersburg, trying to see which car has the quickest time. So the first car I'm going to be testing is the Viper SRT 10. Wrong track again. So a lot of people think that this is the fastest car because it's a front engine, so it makes it good in the career mode when you're doing the cop pursuits. But the only problem is it's a little bit heavy and it tends to understeer a lot in the corners, which I find very annoying. And you can kind of use the NOS handling trick, but it makes it kind of unstable. The overall balance of this car is also very strange. It's kind of heavy, has a pretty decent top speed and top end overall when it comes to acceleration, but in the low end acceleration, it's not as quick as something like the Lotus. Even the Porsche Carrera GT is a lot faster than this. Believe it, you get it after beating Blacklist number 5, I think. Somewhere around there. And it's also Blacklist number 4 JV. It's also his car you can unlock through pink slips. But when I played through the career mode, I didn't really try to get his car because overall I don't see the Viper as a very good car. I mean, I don't really care for it in this game. To be honest, I would rather pick the new Viper in newer games than pick the old Viper, just because of not only looks, but I like the feel of it, how it's less of that, it doesn't feel as heavy, it doesn't feel so muscle car like. Even though this car isn't technically like that, it's more of a super muscle, but it's a different feeling. Like, this car feels it's different in this game, and the handling is weird and it feels almost off balance. However, it is very heavy, and that is a good thing when it comes to using it in pursuits, like I said before. So overall, this is better as a pursuit car, if anything. Not so much when it comes to racing. It has a hard time going through corners. It does that weird kind of heavy muscle car thing, like where it will kind of like slide if you push it too hard, or if you like put too much gas on the accelerator. And you kind of need to have a light throttle, like most of the muscle cars in this game, similar to the Corvette and the Camaro SS, which is obviously not available in the game unless you have the PC Black Edition. But it's a good car overall, but just not for this particular, not just for racing in general. It's not as quick as the Porsche or the Lotus or the M3 GTR, and I mean, those cars are really the best, and I really don't think today's episode we're going to be able to get any cars better than those 3. I mean, those 3 are basically the top cars, and that's why everyone chooses them, because they're just the quickest. These cars a little bit more unconventional. I mean, I'm gonna be surprised if I can even get under a minute in this car. But so I'm probably gonna do is I'm just gonna skip to the end, and we'll just see the fastest lap I got. And I know I'm using NOS because I know I'm not gonna get near a minute with this thing. And you see how like when you put too much pressure on the brakes, it just starts to slide. The brakes like lock and then the balance kind of shifts. And that's not really good when it comes to corners where you actually need to brake, you know, which is like most of the corners in this game. Now the only thing I haven't tried yet is the kind of accelerator glitch, which you can do with the M3 GTR, but it doesn't seem to work with this car. I mean, it kind of does, but then it understeers a lot more than the M3 GTR, which is kind of obvious because obviously, you know, you need, oh no, well, you need the car to be lighter in order to pull off that trick. And there we go. So with the Viper, I was able to get a minute 4, but that was using nitrous like the entire lap. So a minute 4 and 11 isn't that great of a time. I mean, probably not the worst I've done, but it's close to it. So the Viper is a good car. Not really. Not for this track, not for this purpose. It's not a very good car at all. But the next car we're going to be testing is one that a lot of people consider worse than the Viper, actually. And it's the Lamborghini Gallardo. A lot of people say that this is a very good car. And I've tried it myself, and it's a very good car. But the only thing is that they say it's better than the Viper, but I really don't think so. You know, the Viper, this thing feels a lot like the Lotus Elise, but like with more power. It has a kind of same grippy race car feel, but the problem is that it understeers way too much. Like, even through these corners, I'm having a hard time keeping it not stable, but I'm having a hard time turning. Like, it needs that more braking, that light tap of a brake and taking your foot off the accelerator, unlike the Lotus Elise where you can just go pretty much planted. Now that corner is pretty good, and you can do it pretty much similar to the Lotus Elise, but when it comes to the high speed end, it's pretty much similar to the Lotus, maybe a little bit quicker, has a little bit more power, but it understeers a lot more than the Lotus. It doesn't feel like there's as much downforce. Like with the Lotus, you can pretty much grip. It just grips, takes corners. This thing grips and takes corners, but has that understeer problem. That a lot of the cars I noticed, like the Subaru, I was taking the Subaru out earlier, that had an understeer problem. The Lancer has an understeer problem. Now I don't remember if the Gallardo is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. I think it's all-wheel drive, and that's why I'm having this problem where it just understeers like so much. Like, that's the problem with this game, is that all-wheel drive cars are really good in this game, but the all-wheel drive just makes it grip, which is like in real life, because obviously you're gonna have a harder time because all wheels are producing power. They're all spinning the wheels, and then that causes it to sometimes understeer. It's great for making it feel stable, which this car is, but unfortunately it makes also the car sometimes heavier as well. But that's why they use it in a lot of dirt and rally. But and oh my god, oh my, okay, we had a little bit of a kerfuffle there, and yeah. To be honest, this car isn't necessarily bad, but it feels like an all-wheel drive car. But when you take corners, it's less stable. Like I was testing out the Subaru, like I said earlier, and I could go into corners and it'd be very stable. Even if I crash, it would just be stable. Like, it would just be like a rock. It would just stay planted. Even if I hit like a super big corner, like head on, it wouldn't flip. You know, most cars, especially the Lotus, I noticed, or lighter cars, will normally flip if you hit it that fast. But this car the Subaru was really planted. I was really surprised. Even the Lancer isn't really that planted. I mean, it is, but the Subaru took it strangely well. I didn't use speed breaker. It was the same ultimate parts with also the Junkman parts. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed in this Gallardo. I'll see if I can do anything better with it, but by the looks of it right now, I mean, it's not an incredibly good car like people say it is. Is it better than the Viper? I don't even think it's better than the Viper. I mean, they're really both not great cars. They tend to be really, both the Viper and the Gallardo are really good in those high-end sweeping corners, but is different. Like the weight shift isn't in this car as much, but in the Viper it is. But for this car, I don't know, there's just something about it that's not, it feels kind of off with the car. Like I hit a corner and it just like flies, or not really flies, but like it really just shifts everything, and then just like it will either try to flip or it will try to like, or you'll get some air, and that's not really good for a car. I mean, even in like pursuits, I don't think this car is good. Like at least the Viper is good in pursuits because it has a front engine, but this car's a rear engine, so I'm not sure if that's what's causing the problem, especially if it's an RR or an MR, mid-engine rear-wheel drive, or a rear engine rear-wheel drive. But I think most cars are MR. Yeah, I think this is an MR, because I don't think it's an M4. Mid-engine four-wheel drive or mid-engine rear-wheel drive. I think it's a rear-wheel drive car. I really do. I really think this car is rear-wheel drive. But this car, I don't know. I'll just try driving it for a little while more for its last lap, and then if I get a better time, I'll definitely let you know. Yeah, that was 1:05. Wow, I actually came last. I actually came in second place. So the quickest lap I was able to get was 1:05. Seriously, what is wrong with these cars? Like, they're nowhere even near. I mean, I think the Viper was 1:04. Now, obviously, I'm not driving them very good, but I don't know. Let's just hope this last car can kind of redeem itself. And that's the Cobalt SS. Now, this is a really interesting one because it's a car you can get from the beginning of the game. No, it is a car. It's one of the first starter cars, and I've heard very good things online about this car. A lot of people say that this is a very good car, and straight away you can see it has plenty of torque, which is very good because it can get up to speed. Looks like it's getting up to speed a lot quicker, and it seems like it to have that sort of Lotus handling, like where it's very lightweight but can also like take corners super easily. And I'm really liking this car so far. It's very stable but lightweight. When I take corners, it won't spin out if I crash. Seems to be able to hold its speed up pretty well. You do need to use a little bit of momentum, but not too much. Not to the point where it's kind of overwhelming and you have to continuously speed up, or anything like that. But right now, this car seems very good. Pretty planted for the most part. Having a little bit hard time. But see, the other cars, the Viper and the Elgato especially, understeered like so much. Like this car understeers, but it doesn't like really understeer. Like it doesn't understeer to the point where you can't make turns. Like this car is pretty good about that, and it won't really understeer to the point where you can't make turns. Like it understeers, yeah, it grips up, but it's more of a grip understeer than just a losing control understeer. And there's a big difference, because understeering and losing control is where it turns into oversteer, and then you just kind of spin out, and then because you'll hit a wall and you'll just lose all balance and control. But this understeer is more like, it's lightweight, but it's very planet. Like there's a lot of downforce. When it comes to the top end, it's very similar to the Lotus. I could see this car getting possibly a 59 at the very least. It's not quite as good as the Lotus, but considering that you can use this car the entire way and it's a starter car, I mean, this is a pretty darn good car. Now, I also have tested the Golf and the IS300 in the past, but this is still the best starter car so far. The only other one, and the Punto. Yeah, the Punto is not that good on this track. But other than that, I think I'm just going to cut to the end, see what kind of laps I can get. And if I get anything, I will let you guys know. Alright, now this car, the fastest lap I was able to get with it was a 58.05. I mean, that's quicker than the M3 GTR. I think that's quicker than the Lotus, and that almost rivals the Carrera GT. So I definitely underestimated this car at first glance. I was like, this car will never be that good. But I guess that's a good way to end this video, actually, because man, that Cobalt is fast. So definitely, yeah. I mean, if you're playing through the game, if you still have it on the 360 or the PC, use the Cobalt. It's a very good car. And with that, I'll see you guys later. I'm Keisha Gaming. Peace.